and welcome back to another edition of Cat Calls. I am Kat, and this is my show that I do most Thursdays here at twitch.tv/KATBEIN. Why am I spelling out my own name? It's not just because I'm egotistical and I want you to know how Bein is spelled and how to pronounce it. It's also because that is how you will find me on YouTube, where I post all of the episodes eventually one day when I am on top of my shit. And you should go and you should check these out, because I've had a lot of really great conversations with folks. But today I have a really great conversation with a folk in particular. I need everyone to give a big round of applause, because our guest has come all the way from Portugal, even though right now he's in Los Angeles. Everyone give it up for Holly. Yeah. Woo! Yes. I'm very excited to have Holly on the program as well. Of course, Holly, real name Miguel, known to the world as Holly, is from Portugal, still lives there to this very day. However, he is in Los Angeles right now. If any of you are in Los Angeles or anywhere near Los Angeles, he's playing a show with Machine Drum tomorrow, and you should check that out. I also love Machine Drum. I would love to get Machine Drum on the show, but today we're talking about Holly. I first learned about Holly when he won the first ever inaugural Goldie Awards, A-Track's beat and DJ battle that took place in Brooklyn, New York City. I believe it was in Brooklyn. And it was in New York City for sure. And Holly just absolutely wowed the audience and absolutely wowed me. And then after I was turned on to him from that performance, I started seeing his name everywhere. And not only did I see his name everywhere because of his own productions, I saw his name coming up in interviews with other artists that I was a huge fan of, because Holly is the type of producer that makes other producers who you think of as legends just absolutely wet their shirts with drool, because they're just like, how does he come up with these insane textures and these beautiful melodies? He's able to do really ferocious, frenetic beats and really emotional, melodic songs. He works with rappers, he works with singers, but I like him best when he works by himself. Of course, his biggest collaboration to date, I think, would have to be his Grammy-nominated collaboration with Bauer on the album Planets Mad, which came out in 2020. If you haven't listened to Planets Mad, holy heck, what are you waiting for? And that's also been set to an entire visual. It's super, super impressive. You should watch the whole thing on YouTube. But right now, Holly is promoting a new EP, the first in a trilogy, actually. It's called Minha Vida Love. Minha Vida meaning my life in Portuguese. And Love is just the first installment in 3 parts. The whole project is riddled with metaphors and meaning in the visuals and in the sonics. So we're going to dive deep into all of that for sure. And before we do, we're going to start with his single, Looking for My Peace. It's got a really cool video, and he told me that there's a whole story behind that, so it's a great place to just jump off this conversation and start. And I want you to bring your own questions to the table, because this is not just my show, it is your show, and this show is made better by your presence in the chat with questions and jokes and whatever it is that you want to say. I am happy that you're here, and I'm happy that Holly's here, but we have to play the song. So here we go. Let's go. Hello. Holly, I found you roaming through the hallways of the internet. I'm so sorry that I accidentally gave you the wrong address, but I'm so glad that you made it to the show.
That's so good. It's always good to travel a little bit around the internet and see what other addresses
I know. Did you find any other cool doors in your journey? Did you see anything weird?
No, I was just in this door. Yeah, like just knocking on the door, seeing if someone would open the door. But yeah, nothing. But I'm here now. Yeah.
I'm so glad you made it. Did you find your peace while you were out there looking?
Whoa. Yeah, I did. I mean, yeah. Well, that was a good one. Yeah. I just don't know what to reply to that one. I'm still looking for it. I think we are looking for it somehow, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think if you had actually found it, this conversation would need to get like really seriously one track minded on like how did you reach Nirvana and how can I too follow your example. But we were just watching the Looking for My Piece video, which is why I cracked that joke. And I know that you wanted to play that one in particular. And hello, Hunter Thompson in the chat. Yay, we also found you. You told me during our practice call today that that song and that video in particular has some stories behind it that you wanted to share. So I would love to open the door for you to share those stories with us now.
Yeah, so let me think. So yeah, so I made that song a while, like maybe like 1 year and a half ago, something like that, maybe like 2 years ago. Maybe it was like during, like the whole pandemic, and there was just a lot of stuff going on. So I think, like the title says everything. And then I wanted to work with this artist from Japan called Daito. He has a crew called Rhizomatics, and I wanted to work with them for a while on a music video. So I sent them the song, and then they created like the whole, story behind the song. And it was just very, very, very interesting for me to see or to have like a crew of visual artists and someone that I look up to so much. Just grabbing the concept of the song and turning it to like a whole story. And and I think they really brought it to a new level. And and I love how it came out.
Yeah, it's absolutely sick. I don't know, maybe this is just me, but it kind of feels like we're journeying through somebody's mouth in the beginning part of the video. It looks very organic.
yeah. But I love how they had the the organic part and they mix it. It's still like scenes from like the real world, right? Like you got like the pyramids in Egypt and you got like a bunch of nature, but it feels. Yeah, like actually, like when we were working on the video, one of the goals was to, because nowadays we spend like so much time on our phones and on internet and on everything. So it's like, how can you see something that brings you to so many different parts of the world through a music video? So we really wanted to keep that organic vibe and feeling to it, but still make it, electronically interesting. If that makes sense. Yeah. And so that was basically the journey.
Totally. Do you find that traveling and going to faraway places is one part of life that brings you peace? Do you find a lot of peace in the art of traveling? Yeah.
And it's actually like this year I started traveling more just for the sake of traveling and not be just traveling for a show. Because when we travel for shows, sometimes everything is just too easy because like you have someone taking care of you or they give you tips of where to go or places to avoid. So this year, like me and a friend of mine called Gonzalo, we've been just traveling, just go somewhere that we've never been. And so we did a few trips, and the first one was to Egypt in April, and like just going there and like those first 5-10 minutes that you are just leaving the airport at night and someone is just taking you like to the hotel and like you have no idea if you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? Like that's like I found myself just thinking that those minutes are the minutes that I feel like the most alive. When you go like somewhere new for the first time and like just that first like car drive. And then we went to a few more countries, but like we also went to Senegal and like I felt the same feeling. So I've been finding that traveling, and especially when I go to a culture that is really different from like Europe or from America or from a place that I haven't been yet. Yeah, like that's the place. Those are the moments where I feel the most alive, and it's so exciting. Yeah.
I totally.
So that totally influences the music and everything else. Yeah.
Totally. Well, first of all, congratulations to you for taking the time out of your schedule to just go and do that. I know, we as fans are always it's easy to glamorize musicians and DJs traveling, but so often what that looks like for y'all is just like, I'm in another hotel room, like, okay, now I'm getting back on a plane. And it's so cool to really just immerse yourself in a place and not be responsible for anything and just like explore. Yeah.
I mean, if those were the problems of everyone in the world, then everything would be quite well, right? Like, I feel like just that being a problem to a DJ, it's so like it's such a privilege somehow, right?
It is such a privilege, yeah.
But I don't know, like I never found myself thinking that way, because for me it's such a blessing, you know, like traveling and traveling, like doing something that I love. But actually, like doing something that I love and traveling doing what I love. That, you know, I never thought that, you know, I would, you know, blame that. Even sometimes, like if things go a little bit not the way that are supposed to go, I just approach them as okay, what I'm gonna learn from here, what's the lesson, and, you know, and like, do I like the situation? Do I not? If I not, what can I do in the future? How can things be better? So so I never. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking if I ever felt like that, like, oh, I'm in a hotel. You know? Like, yeah, I don't know. I think like the only time where I've, like, times that I felt it, I know there's like one specific time that I went to travel to a place, and the only thing was that like I got to the place like very late, and I really wanted to have a good meal because I was really hungry, and the promoter just kept like forgetting about my meal for like hours and hours, and then he took me to a place where it was just like those like 24-hour places with fast food. So like my dinner ended up just being like a chocolate or something. But, you know, but food is like such an important thing for me that I think back then that was one of the situations where I was like, okay, definitely.
This could have been better.
Next time I travel, I just bring food with me, and I'm not gonna rely on anyone for the nutrients from my body.
That's funny. The promoter needs to just keep you full enough to do your thing. Like, that's so funny. Well, before we talk more and more about all the places in the world that you've been and that music has brought you and that you have brought yourself, I want to talk about where you are from. And you are from Portugal. You still live there, from what I understand. You're only visiting LA.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to understand my living situation. Because I spend it really depends of like what, like in your perspective. Can you explain me your concept of living in a place? Because I've been having like a hard time understanding that. Sure.
Do you pay rent to live in a house anywhere, or do you?
Oh, so that's your concept of living in a place.
I mean, that's what ties me to a spot, because I'm financially responsible to it.
So what if I'm like in America, but I'm paying rent in for example, like Brazil or something like that, right? Like, and I'm not in Brazil, but I'm paying the rent there. Do you consider?
Well, I guess it depends on how long you're there for. I guess you're technically living wherever you are and are still alive. Where do you spend the most of your time? Do you spend? Where's most of your stuff?
So it's definitely in my house, in my hometown, in my family house in my hometown. Yeah.
Nice.
So like, okay. So I'm from Portugal. I'm from a beautiful city called Caldas da Rainha, which is on the west coast, 1 hour north of Lisbon. And I lived there until I was 18. And then when I was 18, I moved to Lisbon. I studied there for 3 years. And then I started making music when I moved to Lisbon, pretty much like on that summer between high school and going to university. Then I spent like 3 years in Lisbon. Then I went back to my hometown, and then basically a few years after, maybe like 2 years after, I started like traveling more, and then I started having like some shows here in America in 2016. That was the first time I came here. Then 2017, and then 2018, I started like spending here more time. So like maybe like 7 or 8 months a year here.
Oh yeah,
in 2018.
I can see why you're confused about how to answer that question.
So that was what happened in 2018, and then 19, and then in 2020, that was the plan to keep living here. But with COVID and everything, I went back to Portugal, and then I stayed there until October of last year. Then in October, I went to travel again, so I came here and for a month, and then I went to Korea for a few weeks, and then I went back to Portugal for Christmas. And then this year, I spent like January and February and the first week of March in New York. And then I went to Portugal until basically like last week. But like in between, I was like traveling too. So I would go, like I came to America for like 2 weeks in April. And I had all these trips. So, it's sometimes a little bit confusing for me.
Totally. You're a man of the world now.
That's what. So sometimes it's a little bit hard for me to understand the concept of like living in a place, at least for me, and like even in the future, like my plan is to split my time between different places. So sometimes I think like, okay, well, what's really, yeah.
I hear you.
But yeah,
I
but yeah.
spent 3 years before the pandemic happened and kind of like forced me and I think many people in the world to just sit still for a while. I was not living anywhere in particular as well, and I was like,
Hmm.
I was kind of living out of a suitcase and staying
Nice,
with
nice.
friends and family all over the place, and also taking trips when I could, like bigger international trips, and it was definitely the best decision for me to just jump into that lifestyle and try it out. And I did that for about 3 years. I am now fully financially responsible for an apartment in Florida where I am right now. So that part of my life is over, but I am so ecstatic for you to be on that journey.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
don't slow down if you don't have to.
Yeah, it's also like I'm really interested in a lot of different music cultures,
Yeah.
different cultures and different music scenes around the world. So sometimes for me, if I spend too much time in one place, I'm like, oh, I haven't been in that place in a while. I need to go there and I need to work with all these artists, blah blah.
Yeah.
So and then I go to that place, but I'm like, oh, but now I need to go somewhere and I need like to keep building what I was building in this place. So I always feel like I'm missing out, like what's going on
Yeah.
musically in other places if I'm not there. So that's why I keep, yeah. And I'm really lucky because I really work with different artists all over the world. So, that kind of helps in, going from different places and like having people there and friends
Yeah.
and yeah. So that makes me not feel lonely, I think. So
I
which is
love
great.
that. I'm not shocked to hear that either because I feel your musical catalog is so varied. Like you just have incorporated so many different sounds and styles into the work that you do. And so also your beats can be so frenzied, like it's not hard to imagine that the person behind the music is also like rushing from place to place. And
Yeah.
I love to hear some of the cultures musically and places that you've fallen in love with that you keep feeling like, wait, I haven't been there in a while, I want to go back. And like
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I think like at the beginning when I started making music, yeah, one of the first music groups that I listened when I was younger was the Prodigy from the band from UK. And the thing is that they had so many cultures like inside of their
Yeah.
music, right? From like all the reggae stuff to jungle to drum and bass to some techno to so like for me I think that was my yeah, I never thought this way, but it was maybe my first introduction to like different music cultures around the world. Even though they were from UK, but yeah, they were breeding so many different styles from around the world. So when I started making music, I was just really into making just like more like hip hop and some electronic music, more like ambiental stuff. But then I started traveling more in like 2016 maybe, and I think the first time I felt like I wanna. So I was like interested by what was going on around the world, but the first time that I traveled and I felt like, whoa, I want to spend more time here, understand like what's going on. Maybe it was like China, like in the New Year's Eve from 2016 to 17.
Oh, that's
I think
cool.
think that was it. Yeah. So because I went there and I was playing in Chengdu and it was me and a few more DJs and also Higher Brothers, the rap group.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were playing too.
Oh, I
and
love them.
and for me that was like one of the first time that I became in contact with like with Chinese rap basically,
Yeah.
But they had like all these like Chinese verses, but then they would do the chorus in English. So for me it was just so crazy like how they would bring all these cultures into the what they were doing, and the crowd was like so hyped
Yeah.
while they were performing. So I was very curious like, whoa, I want to know what's going on here. And then I just kept traveling, and I remember then like in 2017 I went to Korea and Japan, and I felt like the same thing, like whoa, what's going on here?
Such
Like this
fascinating
is so different
places. Yeah.
yeah, just like visually and sonically everything was so different. So yeah, so I think those are like the first cultures that I became very curious about what was going on. Yeah, and it's also because it was kind of hard for me to get information from what was going on in those places, right? Like I was spending most of my time in Portugal, so it was very easy to know like what was going on in America or Europe,
Yeah.
because all the media and like all the SoundCloud community was very, there was like some producers from other countries around the world, but mainly my community was very American or European based. So when I had the opportunity to go to Asia for the first time and see what they were doing there, I was just I was just blown away. Yeah,
That's so
and
sick.
and lately has been like one of the cultures that I pay the most attention to music wise, but also I've been very fascinated about what's going on in Africa too.
Yeah.
And that's why I also did these trips during the year to go to Africa and to see what's going on there. Yeah.
That's so cool. What is going on in Africa? In Senegal, you said you went to?
Yeah, I mean, it's like so much stuff, and like my experience there has been so small that I think whatever I say, it's not going to be like I'm not going to make justice, and I'm not the best person to talk about it.
Right.
But for example, I went to this festival called Niege in Uganda, like last month in September, and it was great because there were so many. Like there was this band, for example, that like from Africa, they were just playing. Like it was like there was this man rapping, but then they also had like all these guys just like playing like crazy percussions and like instruments that I never saw. And then there was also just like a stage for like more, what would you say, like more commercial African music, like more the Afrobeat stuff and maybe music that you're gonna hear on some radio stations here in America or something. So yeah, like that was really, really, really interesting. And then when I went to Egypt and Senegal, like I got introduced to some of the hip hop culture there.
Nice.
Even in Senegal, I met this artist called Is 814. Like he's a very famous rapper there, and I knew his work because he's also a producer, and he's been doing these sample packs for Spice, which is music from Senegal. And then like he kind of showed me where he gets the sounds, and it was just
cool.
and he also took me to like a hip hop center in Dakar. So it was like this hip hop it was like it was kind of like a few buildings, and it was like a place where kids would go and they would have a studio. They would have like a studio to do photo shoots or music videos. They would have like a stage to practice performance, and they would also have like some walls to do graffiti. And that was very, very inspiring, to see what that center was doing for the community. And but there's like so much good stuff happening. I would need like 1,000 travels to give a good answer to this question. Yeah.
No, it's great. I mean, I haven't been there at all, so it's wonderful just to hear about your experiences. But I can see why you have like this feeling of, well, I need to go back. There's just so much to explore. I mean, what an endless fountain of inspiration to just be constantly immersing yourself in these other cultures. You really are privileged, and that's very exciting. Any of the songs, okay, I feel like there's so many things I want to ask. I have to like hone my brain. But have those travels that you've mentioned from the past year or so, have they made their way into any of the songs that you've put out this year, or so far? Like, I don't know if your inspiration is so linear as that, where you're like, oh, this song really kind of came out of me after I had this experience, and I know that it was inspired in that way. Maybe even not if it's not so much like, oh, I took a sound that I heard there and I decided to make it. But like, I don't know. Have we yet heard the fruits of all that travel later?
Yeah, I think not, because the EP has been done maybe like since December of last year. So I was still kind of like in the in the COVID restrictions mentality of traveling, and then I started like traveling more to these places like in April. So the EP was already done, but there's a lot of specific sections in the songs in the EP that come from my curiosity about these places. So for example, like the song, I think it's My Heart Is Too Big to Love, like the end is just like these kids from Rwanda like playing music that I sampled, and I put it there. And there's like other sections that happen in the EP that it's just my curiosity for these cultures, and I was just searching I was just searching for sounds from those cultures, and like seeing how I could like put them in the songs. But nothing that yeah, nothing yet from these trips. But maybe yeah, for the I'm making some stuff that definitely is inspired by
Yeah.
what I've been doing, and yeah, for the because this is also like a trilogy.
Yeah.
So this was the first part of TP. So yeah, for sure the second and third part will have yeah, songs that come from
That's
these
so
experiences.
exciting.
Yeah.
Were you always such a curious traveler even before you started to make music? Was that something that you always wanted to do as a kid growing up in?
Yeah, I always wanted to travel for sure. But yeah, but at the beginning, I was just very into like, I think like going more to the mainstream destinations, you know, like, um, yeah, like I don't know, like the first trips I did was like to London and like Amsterdam, and
Right,
you know,
right.
as a typical European boy, like that's like
Yeah.
the things that where you want to go.
You're like, I'm gonna go get drunk in London. I'm gonna go smoke weed in
Yeah.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, but like, but lately maybe. Yeah, I think maybe like during COVID, that's when I started feeling this need of like going somewhere that's very different from anywhere that I've been. Yeah, but yeah, but I've always been very interested. Yeah, to about traveling and not just like traveling physically, but also just traveling like mentally and like watching movies that make me think or that take me to new places and yeah, and make me see like things I haven't seen yet. So yeah, even with food, right? Like when you
Yeah.
eat something new, like and you try a new flavor, there's like a sense of traveling, of like bringing you somewhere that you haven't been. So yeah, I think I've always been very curious about that part of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. What movies have you watched lately that have changed your
I
perspective?
haven't been watching that many. Yeah. I mean, I think like maybe like the last one I've watched, like properly watched, was maybe the Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah.
That
and then,
movie was so good.
Yeah.
I
love
watched it on a plane and I just like kept crying and I was trying not to like freak the people out next to me. I was like, but in a good way. You know?
Nice. Yeah, I just watched by myself. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, but I haven't been watching that many movies. But when I was younger, maybe when I was like 17, I had this thing of like watching like 3 movies a day for like
Wow, nice.
a few months. So I think I watched like all the classics, and I used to go to like IMDb and just go to those lists like, oh, the movies I need to watch before I die, or the best movies ever, stuff like that. And I was just doing like 2-3 movies a day. So yeah, so like these days I don't feel like I've watched like so much stuff
You've
already.
watched movies, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm still super interested in what people are doing and new stuff. But yeah, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once was like the last one I've watched that. Yeah, I was really like, okay, I'm gonna watch this movie, and yeah.
Are you a person who goes so far into anything that you like? Because you're sitting here and you're telling me like, I like to travel, I'm barely home. I liked movies, I watch 3 movies a day for like
I think so.
You put music out like a fucking machine. So like you might just be an obsessive personality.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I think in a healthy way.
For sure. I don't mean that in any sort of
I think I'm not like
accusatory-
destroying myself by doing those things,
Yeah, no, absolutely not. What else in your life have you felt like really compelled by?
I think like I was really into like Pokemon cards when I was younger, for example.
Fair.
Yeah, and so like I used to go like to championships and stuff, and like
Really?
Yeah, like I went to the nationals in Portugal. Yeah, I was like very, very competitive. Yeah, and then skateboarding, I think was like, I think like the first thing was maybe soccer. I was very into soccer for a few years, but then, but then when I was 13, I started skateboarding, and that was like what I was doing like all the time. Yeah, like I would be like school, or if I didn't have to go to school, I would just be like skateboarding all the time, or watching movies, or trying to learn new tricks. Yeah, I had like a phase where I went to some like championships as well, and
for skateboarding.
Yeah, and I did like a few skate videos too, and there was like a really good skate community in my hometown too. So it was a very, it was a great way to like. I'm really blessed by the way my teenage years went. Yeah,
That's
and then after skateboarding, I had that movie phase, and then yeah, then I just like started making music. Yeah, and then from music, yeah, it's been traveling, and
I heard
yeah,
you.
I'm looking forward to see what's next.
I heard you broke your arm skateboarding, and that's what
Yeah,
led to you
yeah,
getting into music.
yeah, yeah. Because um, yeah, because I that was like during a period where I was in high school, and I don't know how it is like in America, but like in Portugal, like you do the ninth grade the typical way, and then when you go to the 10th grade, you choose an area that you really like, and you
Right.
follow that area. So like I went to arts, and I was
Cool.
like learning, like I was just like I was just learning how to do like certain projects and drawing and all that stuff. And then yeah, then I broke my arm while I was studying arts, and then I was just looking for something that gave me the feeling that skateboarding was giving me, but I couldn't skate for a few months. So I was just trying to find like something else that I could be just fascinated about. So yeah, like I got really into like taking photos. I still have that camera, like a film camera
Cool.
from my mom. So I would just go to the skate park and like take photos of my
Nice.
friends. And then that's when I started yeah, just like watching a bunch of movies. And then I
Makes
was just
sense.
like I tried graffiti for a little bit, but then I couldn't find anything that made me feel like, whoa, this is like really the way I feel about skateboarding. And then yeah, then my brother is a musician, so there was like one night that we went to the radio station of one of our friends, and on the way back he was just like, man, you should just start trying to make beats. Like it's fun, it's simple. You just get the software, and yeah, you should try to do that. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And then I had a few friends, I had a few sample packs, so they would just send me the sample packs, and
Nice.
then I downloaded FL Studio, and I was like, whoa, this is really what I like. Yeah, like yeah, here's the answer to all my questions. Yeah, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, yeah. At the beginning, I was maybe still a little bit confused, like
Of course.
how uh more like because at first I wasn't able to like express my ideas, right? So what I would do would be go to YouTube, search like FL Studio tutorial, and copy paste everything they were doing, and then that would sound the same. But then but yeah, but then I started making so many beats. I was like, okay, like the more beats I make, the more I will learn how really like to make my own stuff. And yeah, and I think that was like a very beautiful era, like making that transition from like copying other people to make a song back. Oh yeah, it's actually something that I've made, and that's not on YouTube. At
Yeah.
least this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this is
So yeah,
me. This is me.
yeah,
I made it. I like
yeah.
it.
So skateboarding, like breaking my arm, like yeah, it was like the trigger to that search for like something else besides skateboarding in my life.
It
So
seems like your arm's
yeah,
okay
that led me
now.
to music.
So
Yeah. Say again, say
it
again.
sounds like your arm's okay now. Seems like it.
Yeah, yeah,
No lingering.
yeah, yeah.
Do you still skateboard?
Um, yeah. I mean, not the way that I wish. Like, I have like a small cruiser. So like sometimes when I'm in my hometown and I need to go like to the city, because I live like 10 minutes away from the city center. So sometimes I just like grab that skate and I go to the city center and I come back. But yeah, but I really miss doing tricks. But I'm really afraid of hurting myself. And
Totally.
yeah, even like 2018, like there was a day that like I was coming back to America, and the day before I went to the skate park to say goodbye to my friends, and I went on my skateboard, another one that I had, and I broke my wrist just like
Oh
going there and saying hi. Yeah, and then I was like, damn, I really gotta
no. Gotta
gotta
let this
stop
go.
being funny. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I still skate sometimes, but it's just cruising around. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
really do miss like jumping stairs and like the tricks on the floor, and yeah.
It's what happens as we age. We start realizing that we're not invincible and
Yeah.
that there are, unfortunately, physical consequences to
Yeah,
things.
yeah. It happens.
It all works out. It's very cool that you were competitive in Pokemon cards and in skateboarding.
Very.
I was at the Goldie Awards when
Nice.
you won in 2017. I'm wearing
Nice,
my
nice.
Goldie Awards T-shirt in your
Yeah,
honor.
I was like recognizing, but I was like, oh, that seems similar to the logo. Yeah,
It was.
okay.
It is. It is. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, I have to put this on.
Yeah.
You won
Really
that.
cool.
You won that one, and I think that was your
Yeah,
first
that was cool.
competition
Yeah,
for maybe only, I don't know. Well, no, because you came back in 2018 as well, at least for the
yeah.
Goldies. But
Let's not talk about that one.
yeah,
Yeah, we can
well,
talk about the 17
let's
one.
talk
Yeah,
about let's talk about
yeah,
2017. What was that
yeah.
experience like for you? You actually came to New York for it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Like, yeah, actually, when I think about that experience, I don't even think that about the fact that I won. Like, I just think that was like such a good day,
Yeah.
and like, for example, I had some friends there that I knew from SoundCloud, and it was like the first time we met. Like other friends that were competing, yeah, we were
Oh,
competing against
dope.
each other. Yeah, for example, there's this producer called Young Sidechain, and like we were really good friends on SoundCloud, and like yeah, maybe remember him. Yeah, and yeah, that was like so cool. Like to meet him for the first time,
Yeah.
and then also just the judges. Like I
My
remember just being
God.
so crazy about like, oh, like I'm in the same room as like Just
Fucking
Blaze
Just
and
Blaze.
Dimples. And yeah, and yeah, so I really think about that, just like the whole experience. And then also my brother came with me, so that was really cool. And because he's really into like he's one of, like, for me he's like the one of the best DJs, like scratching. Like he already won a few championships worldwide.
yeah.
And there was also the DJ battle category. So like he came with me because he had a few friends like competing as well. So it was really cool as well, just to be with them and be with my, be with the friends of my brother and all that. So yeah, so when I think about it, I just think that was a great day. And then of course winning was like very 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 special too. And yeah, yeah, and then you had like the after party. I don't know if you're into the after party.
I don't
Like
think
it was
so.
like
Yeah.
it was in the club, like a track was playing. So yeah, so like the whole community spirit was amazing. Like I really had a great time. And then I feel like when I went in 2018, it was more like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. Like I definitely saw like some people like going against me because I won, so I was the only person.
There's a target on your back now.
And
Yeah.
even Miles Medina that won in 2017, he wasn't defeating in 2018. So I was like the only champion, like defeating the title. And so I felt that pressure of like people going against me, and I was like, oh, this is not funny. Like this is not. I don't feel. I was very
It's more
nervous actually.
stressful,
And I
yeah.
think yeah, and I also think the way I select my beats in 2017 was very different from what other people were presenting at the competition. So that was a plus, like for my win.
Yeah.
And I think in 2018 there were more people, with more like glitchy, like bass stuff and certain trap beats and certain sequences that maybe were a little bit similar to what I presented in 2018. So I was like, okay, yeah, I think that now we are just, there's a yeah, like maybe makes sense if it's someone else winning, but yeah, yeah, but it was great. And but when I think about it, I just think about the great experience to be surrounded by DJs and artists that I grew up listening to. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was really
totally.
cool.
Did
Yeah.
you make any cool connections out of that evening that led to things down the road?
Yeah, I think so. Like I remember, like I got like Deepu's email, and then like we changed a few emails, and then like he put me on Deepu and Friends
Dope. Yeah.
mix. And, like that was like towards the end of the year, like beginning of 2018. So that was like really cool. And then like also Just Plays, like yeah, because we were like, I had like a few friends there, so we were like maybe 3 or 4 kids, and we were just like asking Just Plays for his phone number. And he gave to like, I don't know, but like he maybe they messed up the number, but like our of us had like a different number from Just Plays. So we were thinking like, oh, who has the right number? And actually, like he like, yeah, he texted me back. So like then there was a time I went back to New York, and yeah, and I went to his house, and it was like really cool to just go there and like
That's so cool.
play some music for him and like spend the evening with him. And then like yeah, of course, like it was really cool to meet A-Track. Like I still see him like sometimes in some events. Yeah, then what else? Yeah, I think those were like the main connections that happened. Yeah, after. Yeah. Yeah, they were like I really like respect all the work of all the judges, but definitely like Just Boys, Deepu, and A-Track were like the ones that I was like, oh, they really helped me a lot on a personal level. Just getting inspiration from what
Yeah,
they do and stuff. So yeah, those
totally.
were definitely the ones that I was like, oh, I definitely need to get
Yeah.
their number or their email. Yeah,
Hustling. Well, you definitely made a big impression, I'm sure, with everyone in the
yeah,
building that night, myself included.
yeah. And
But
it
you
was
know,
packed. Like it was a great vibe too. Like
yeah,
yeah, I just remember like just seeing a lot of people there. Like yeah, it was a great night just on a human level. Yeah.
yeah, it was really, really cool. I'm hopeful that I get to go to another one in person. I know over the
Mhm.
last couple of years it was like a digital thing, being with, the
Yeah.
pandemic and all that. But if they do it again somewhere physically, I'd love to go check it out because
Yeah,
it's just such a
definitely.
cool
Yeah.
vibe to like see people really trying to bring their everything in these quick rounds, and it's dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Get
Yeah,
to
and it's
hear
also
everyone
something that like
react.
I don't know that many places like doing beat battles.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just being ignorant, but like I haven't
I don't
come
know.
across that much. Yeah, and and it's actually like a very fun like to see a beat battle
Yeah.
and then a DJ battle and
Totally.
yeah, yeah.
Well, someone else that you made a big impression on was your friend Bauer. I did a 20 questions with him when Planets Mad was coming out, and he just had
Nice, nice.
nothing but the nicest things to say. He was just like, my friend Holly, I couldn't have made this album without him. And
Oh,
I'd send him
so
shit, and
nice.
he'd just be like, I don't know what the fuck this crazy shit is that you sent back to me. Like, and he sends it immediately. Like, it's so
Yeah,
crazy. How did
that's really
you how
nice.
did you connect with him, and how did y'all start working on that album together?
Um, I think like for a while I was just sending him music for him to play. I
Nice.
was just asking for his email on DMs, and I was just sending him music when I had new
Yeah.
stuff that I
Because
thought
his
maybe he
shit
would
is
like.
fire as well.
Because I remember like he played like some of my stuff like a while ago. Like maybe he used to have like a radio show and he played some of my stuff. So I was like, oh, I definitely like I'm just gonna DM him and send him more music. And then there was a time like I went to New York for a little bit and I just texted him and I was like, oh, I'm here. Like if you want to meet, I would love to. And yeah, and we met and like yeah, it was just great. Like because sometimes like you meet people and it's like you make music and it's great, but sometimes that happens and you become really good friends with that person. And I really felt that me and him we really had a lot of things in common, and also like the way we work. Um, yeah, like it was just great. And then yeah, then he just gave me a few ideas actually that day, I believe. And then I left New York and I just worked on those ideas. I sent back to him, and he really enjoyed. And then he was just like, "Yeah, I'm working on an album. Like, I'd love to keep some of these like for the record." And yeah, so he just kept sending me stuff, and I kept working on it. And yeah, then some stuff went for his album, then some other stuff. For example, we did this song called "Just Enough" that came out on a mixtape that I did. So yeah, and then we also like produced some artists, and yeah, so it's been great like to work with him. Yeah, and I also just I'm very blessed for the friendship that we have, and
Yeah, he seems
yeah,
like a
I cherish
really
that a lot.
sweet guy. I mean,
Yeah,
that conversation is the most conversation we've had, but I really enjoyed it. He's a
yeah,
really cool
you can
dude.
understand the energy.
Yeah, totally, totally. And Myriad of Miriam says, making music with people who mean a lot to you is so cool and special. I agree. Are there others
Yeah,
that you've collaborated with that just mean a lot to you? You've collaborated with a lot of artists.
yeah. I think like definitely like Machine Drum.
Ugh, I
Like
just
that
am
was like
such a fan
another
of Machine
artist.
Drum, by the way. Such a
Yeah,
fan.
yeah. And then like I remember I did like something with the Body Beetroots a few years ago, and like when I did it, and like just meeting him was
Icons.
very very
Yeah.
special too. Uh, what else? Yeah, then I've been like working with. Yeah, I don't want to say names yet, but I've been like working with other people now that really mean a lot. Yeah, even like me and Power we ended up doing some stuff for CL, and so that was like really special too
Dope.
because
Yeah.
she was one of the first artists that connect me with the. That was like one of the first artists that I heard from Asia basically, and
Yeah.
that introduced me to a whole new world of like to a whole new culture basically. So yeah, I think those artists, but yeah, everyone is special, and there's a lot of artists out there that I work with that they really mean a lot to me.
Yeah. Well, I want to make sure that we get plenty of time to talk about Mina Vida, Love.
Mm-hmm.
That is all you, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's your life. It's
Yeah,
your
yeah,
love.
yeah.
And I think it's some of my, I think it might be my favorite of the work that you've put out so far, because
Nice, thank you.
it's just as varied and musical and, you know, manic and intense and bassy, but it sounds so succinct. It really sounds like this beautiful, cohesive piece. I would just love to hear about what inspired this EP, what inspired you to make it a trilogy, and what this first chapter, Love. Obviously, it's about love, but I would love to hear about the love that inspired it.
So, so I think I felt that I wanted to do this record first because, yeah, I just like been making a lot of stuff for me, and then like I realized that a lot of people just knew. I mean, this is not like the reason why I made the record is not because I felt like people felt something and I felt I wanted to give a reply
Yeah.
to that, but like, but I just like start like looking to the stuff that I was doing, and I realized that I like it's been a while since I've done a record that was just me and it was just my expression, and like I didn't really have to like I didn't have like to send them like a song to someone and like wait for their reply or like to their ideas, or which I enjoy a lot too. But I felt like I wanted to just do something that is okay. I feel good with this the way it is, and let's go.
Yeah.
If there's no drops, there's no drops. I feel good with it. If there's just like a drop at the end and the song ends, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like I just want to like really express myself and dig really deep into like things I felt like I want to say that I haven't said yet. So that was it. I think it would like. Yeah, I felt like I wanted to do this record first because I just felt I wanted to express what was really into myself, and I felt like a lot of things that were coming out was just work with other people. So I wanted to find a place where I could just express myself fully.
Yeah.
What was the second part of the question?
Well, what inspired you to make it a trilogy? Why break it into these 3 different chapters? And then, why this first one?
So I had like so many demos and like so many ideas, and I, at the same time I felt like it's still kind of early for me like to do an album, but I wanted to do like a big body, make a project with a big body of work.
Yeah.
And I felt like it would be cool to do just like a trilogy and just like to just release music and not be like an album or not be something, you know, so serious as like an album. Like I can still just do the EP for fun and like not put many expectations. So that was it. Just like the need of me just putting out a lot of music and then like I started like paying attention to like specific things I was feeling during the last year, like specific emotions, and I felt like I wanted to connect like the 3 parts of the EP with those emotions. So like the first part is love, then the second part is going to be sadness, and then the third part is going to be hope.
Cool.
And that's basically it. And the third part of the question was,
why was this? What is the love that's being represented here? What is the love that was inspiring?
Because it's the beginning. You? Yeah, it's the beginning of everything. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I think for me it's the beginning of everything, and it's like the foundation of everything. So I thought to tell the story of the project, that would be the best way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we somehow like we are born out of love, so and everything that surrounds ourselves is, you know, it comes from love, and like people wanting to put their ideas out and, you know, and share something with the world. So I think that makes sense for the first part.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're very philosophically minded, sir. I really appreciate the deep thought that you bring to everything from where do I live to we all are born from love, and love is the beginning of all things.
Yeah. There's a connection. Yeah, there's a connection. Yeah.
And the artwork for all of the songs, all of the visualizers that you put on YouTube, and of course for the EP, artwork itself, you worked with an artist named Michael McAfee. And I read that it's supposed to represent the kind of musical aura of each track. Is that true? Can you talk to me about that?
So it kind of started because like I wanted to say I wanted to say the most by expressing like not that much, like trying to find expression. But like what I felt is like a lot of the artworks I've done before, it's like they are very well, like there's a lot of information and like a lot of things that I see in life. Like there's just so much information everywhere, and I felt like I wanted to share the message of the artwork, and I felt like, okay, I can write words or I can do other things, but like what's like the most minimal way to really express how I feel about this. So I felt like it was just through colors. And my friend Michael, I really enjoy his work, and we've been working on a few projects since last year. Like we did some NFTs together, and that's kind of how we met.
Cool.
And I really love his work. So I presented him this idea of like, if I have this emotion, like how can you express that through a color? And yeah, so like like this artwork, the color is very vivid, and like it's really the color that represents love somehow, at least from my perspective and Michael's perspective. So then also we had like so many other cool ideas for the main color that I just decided to turn them into visualizers with Michael and use them as like each song visualizer. But it was just that, like I really wanted to do something that you can look to it and just like feel what it says, and without needing words or any and it's been cool because like I made like a t-shirt with the artwork, and I've been using it, and even like my brother was telling me the other day that like, oh, when I look to this color, like I just feel it just feel a great vibe, and so I felt like the mission accomplished for sure. Yeah.
Well, are you gonna keep a similar visual vibe for part 2, Sadness, and part 3, Hope?
Yeah. Still working on it, but I want to keep the same idea of just express myself just with colors and to be that the message.
That's really cool. I like it too because it's so open to interpretation for people, right? Like. I mean, it's funny because, of course, I'm a person who works with words, and I'm always asking artists to explain yourself. But the beauty of music and these sorts of visual arts is that it can bring up whatever memories it does for you, or like create its own story in your head. And it's nice to leave that door open for folks to just have a feeling.
But yeah, I'm really happy, and I felt like it was also something I wanted to say to the world too. Sometimes, like saying a word or saying a color is enough, and like you don't need to talk for 7 hours or whatever. Like you can just go straight to the subject. Yeah,
so powerful to just be like love, and then all these crazy sounds, and then sadness, and I'm so excited to hear how you're going to interpret those concepts with music. Was it all pretty much done during the pandemic, or are some of these other segments you're still working on?
So for this first part, everything was pretty much done like 2020 and last year.
It was a good thing it's a good mantra to keep during that weird time. Love is a nice thing to meditate on.
And that was just making music every day and just like experimenting with new sounds. So and I made so much stuff that I really liked, so I was like, I gotta find a way to put this out. For the next parts, it's more music after like that I've been just making lately. So like I kind of need to deliver everything next month, but I'm still like, I just want to make more stuff and maybe deliver something at last minute.
Up to the wire.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Well, it's exciting to hear that you have to deliver it in a month, because that might mean we hear it before too much
Yeah,
longer
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Hopefully soon.
That's so
Yeah.
exciting. Well, what else are you working on? What else is going on in your world? You're touring, you're doing a few US states right now. What's your next travel spot that you can't wait to get to? Like,
Mm,
what's going on?
uh, so yeah. So now I'll be here in the States for this next month, and then like before the end of the year, like I'm gonna go to Korea for like a few weeks,
Nice.
and then yeah, then I have like these shows here that I'm really stoked. There's like yeah, a few sessions that I have going on here too, and other people that I want to work with. Yeah, and I've just been like, yeah, just making music every day, just trying new things and trying to express myself through different ways. And yeah, I don't know. That's yeah. Sometimes asking that question is always like, what do I say? You know? Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just like yeah, just living life and just enjoying and
Good.
yeah,
That's the best thing
yeah,
you could do.
yeah. It's like being in the present too. Yeah, because sometimes that's it. Like I'm just trying to focus in the present. That it's kind of hard to suddenly say like, oh yeah, like this is what's going on. Like yeah,
This is tomorrow. Yeah, you're like, girl,
yeah,
I'm in today.
yeah.
I'm living for
But yeah,
today.
but I mean, yeah, like I had some shows too. The last few weeks in Portugal, that was really cool, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah. Well, you're doing great. I'm so excited to
yeah.
see what your future todays bring because I'm so locked into this trilogy. I'm very excited to see what the rest of this trilogy
Thank
is.
you so much.
And Torden Strike wants to say obrigado. It's not a question, but
Obrigado,
it is a
obrigado.
thank you.
Yeah.
And on the way out,
Nice.
I'm going to play Close to Protect. Closer to Protect? Close to Protect.
Close.
Close,
to protect.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to share about that song before I let you go?
Yeah, I made that song. So my mom, she's a school teacher, and she was like giving classes like during a part of the pandemic where when the cases in Portugal were going very high, and they were talking about like going into another lockdown, and I was just thinking about like my mom like going to school and that was like there were a lot of kids that were getting infected with COVID and stuff. So I think that like I made that like on a day that I was like, man, they should just like close the schools like to protect the people, So like,
yeah.
I
see. It's close.
yeah. So I was when I'm making music, I don't think that much about the names. It's like
Right.
whatever is happening in the moment.
Right.
I just name, or if a friend says something funny or something like a place I've been on that day or something I'm thinking while making the beat. So yeah. So while I'm making that song, I was like just thinking about that. Like damn, like they should like close the country like to protect the people. So then I was like, yeah, like, close to protect. And then when I had to select the songs, I found that one really cool and I want to keep it. And yeah, and usually I don't even change the name. I just keep the way it is.
I love it. It's so real. It's a slice of your life, It's like almost like a diary entry or something. Like
but it can also like be other things. Like it can just be you like you want to have your people close to you, so you can protect them. Like it can go to a lot of ways, but specifically in that situation was me being like, oh yeah, close the schools like to protect the kids and all the moms and all the other parents. Yeah, my mom specifically. Like, but then I just kept it. Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, we do have a question though. What is the one thing you would tell someone who wants to try the living out of a suitcase and traveling the world thing?
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. Like there's really just do it. Like you find a way to like figure out things, but I think it just do it. Like, just go with it and like just step out of your house and just do it. Maybe like find a cool route. Maybe like just look at other places around your country or your hometown that are good to go and like try to find like a cool way to go to these other places. But I think I think what I would say is really to just do it, because sometimes just it's people have like they put just step backs in a lot of things or excuses to do something when it's like, oh, I wish I could do. No, like you can do this. Like like if you haven't done it, it's because you really don't want to do it that much, you know, or maybe you're just too attached to other things. But yeah, but for me, it's really, yeah, just go is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
say to myself when I'm walking out the door and I have that, you have that moment where you're like, should I have done this? Did I forget something? Blah, blah, blah. I always say, if I don't have it now, I don't need it. It's fine. Whatever I
Yeah,
don't have, I don't
yeah.
need. I can get whatever I need and whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Do I have some clean underpants and a credit card? I can do this. And my ID,
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's what I imagine are the essentials.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah.
Well,
Maybe the keys too.
the key, yeah, to
Is that perfect?
whatever. Well, Holly, Miguel, thank you so much for
Oh, my
joining me
pleasure.
today.
Thank you so
It was
much.
so fun
Yeah.
to chat with you, and
Same here.
I hope we get the chance to talk again really soon because you seem like you're just you've got some cool wisdom behind those glasses.
Thank
I
you.
tell you.
Thank you. Thank you. I
And
appreciate
thank
that.
you. Yeah, and thank
Yeah,
you
and
for
I
the
had a great
wonderful
time here
music.
too, and thank you for all the cool questions. And and sometimes like doing interviews sometimes can be a little bit awkward, but like I felt really good here, and I want you to know that. And it was a great. It didn't even feel like an interview at all, which I think that's when the best interviews happen. So yeah, thank you so much for everything too, and
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
and good luck and all the best with your platform, and yeah.
Thank you.
I hope to see you soon too.
Yes, I hope so. I promise. You come anywhere near where I am, I will be there. If you ever come to Florida, I'm in South Florida, so if you have any big Miami plans, March-ish or any time,
Mm-hmm.
I will find.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Thank you. I'll see you
Perfect.
later.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah. See you next time.